I've had a few people ask me and message me lately about would I be able to do an update on any more predictions I have with the money market or the finances, the way things have been unfolding, and I can understand why because I was seeing banks closing and seeing things changing in the financial market, and now that banks are closing at a rapid rate, there's branches closing everywhere because it's actually happening from what I could see last year, then it gets people excited, and it's human nature to be curious to know what is going to happen next. Um, I'm not a financial advisor, so you don't take my advice with your financial decisions. You need to do your own research. And I don't have all the answers as to how things unfold. I just get shown visions of what I think is going to happen, and then I just let it be and watch it happen. So a lot of what I was predicting last year with the banks closing and things starting to change is starting to happen now. So it's just like waiting for it to unfold. And some other things that I was seeing, if I sat with this topic a bit to see if I could get anything else coming up. There's a couple of maybe new things that maybe I weren't seeing last year, but what I was seeing was a type of card like in Australia where we have a Medicare card, like everybody has a Medicare card, and it looks the same. I felt like there was some kind of card like that coming in the future, which everybody has. And I guess it's connected to the government or it's connected to records, but it seemed to have a connection to something financial, not health. It was more financial. And I could also see very large gold coins, which seemed to be like a token that you could use for a payment, or I don't know how we collect these tokens or how they come about. I don't get the whole full story. I just get a little snippet of a picture and then wait to see it unfold. I also I know with myself personally, I use my instinct a lot, and I could see everybody buying houses lately because the interest rates are so low. So there's a lot of people going out and getting a second mortgage, or first home buyers, new home buyers are going and getting a mortgage because the interest rates are low. But my gut instinct was saying not to buy at the moment because one of my sons is sort of at that age where he would like to get into his first home, and my instinct was just wait. And I've been telling him wait, and I've told a few others that are young that were looking to get into their own home to wait, because it feels as though there's going to be a massive change. The interest rates will not stay low, and even if you could fix your interest rate in for a couple of years, it's still going to go. It's going to rise, and I don't know what it's going to rise to, but I had this vision of especially a lot of maybe middle-aged people or heading more towards the retirement people that may have used this opportunity to buy into an investment property, to rent out, or to use as a holiday home. I actually feel like it's going to backfire on them. So they'll have to end up selling to pay back because they won't have the extra money there to pay back their mortgages. The same with first home buyers, that if it's out of their league, when the interest rates go back up again, they're going to be struggling to pay back those repayments. So it kind of has this feeling of it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's also, when when yourself and anything you're trying to do and you're trying to fix it and you're trying to find the solution, and it gets to the point where you just feel like you're digging a hole and you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper and you can't get out of the hole, and then you end up giving up. That's kind of how the money situation feels with the government. It's like the government's digging themselves such a big hole, they can't get out of it. And that'll be the catalyst of change. So it does feel that it's going to get really bad before there is that turning point where it gets better. And I still feel as though the old financial system as we've known it won't be the same in the future. As far as I feel like there will be cash still, but I do feel like it's going to be phased out, and it's going to, and I don't know much, the cryptocurrency, I also feel like that will reach its peak, like a Bitcoin will reach its peak, and then it's going to dive as well. That'll be up to each individual person that has invested in cryptocurrency to be on the ball and watching everything. Don't just sit back and think it's going to keep growing. The stock markets, if you are somebody that invests in stock, and you also have to be on the ball, because I feel like it's going to crash, and it's not like sometimes it does crash and then there's a quick recovery. This doesn't feel like a quick recovery. I saw this graph like where it goes up and up and up and up, and then it just dives straight down, but instead of it coming up again, it plateaus out and it stays plateaued for quite a long time, which may be the pinnacle point of when changes come in. I don't feel like credit cards will be a thing in the future. I don't know why. I just don't feel like there will be such a thing as a credit card. I know a lot of people are worried about if they've bought gold or if they've bought any mineral investment, if they're going to lose any of that value. I don't feel minerals are going to lose value. I always felt like gold was going to be very important connected with the money system in the future. There still seems to be, this was back in 2015. It's when my guide said to me, money will not be the same in the future as it is today. And at the time, I didn't understand what they meant, and I just left it. I remember having a discussion with somebody at the time about what I was seeing, and they said it can't possibly happen. You can never get rid of money. You can never bring balance in. And I do feel like it is changing, but it's changing ever so slowly. But then the other day when I saw I think it was a rapper that has recently passed, and he had some shoes, and they auctioned off his shoes, and it went for like $1 million or something. It's a stupid amount for a pair of shoes. And that's when I go back to we're still out of balance. We are still way out of balance, because how many homeless people, or could that have fed and sheltered that money, whereas someone's just bought a pair of shoes with it? And I don't know how we're ever going to, I would say, like, you know that the old saying of the person that with the less will give the most. It still seems to be that way. There's still people out there with an awful lot of money that are just using it for themselves. And I don't think we're ever going to stop that. That's just the ego and the human nature of people to want things for themselves and want to be greedy and want to create stuff for themselves and not share it. So I also thought maybe there has to be some kind of financial collapse for people that have been in that position where they've got a lot of wealth and they have to financially collapse before the lesson comes to them of sharing and helping out others that are less fortunate than them. So I don't know what it is. I just have always felt this feeling that the money system is going to change. I don't know how, and I don't know when, because I don't do timing. I never do timing. So, yeah, if you were thinking of going into a first home or getting a loan for the first time, I would really research that, and use your instinct, because if you've got enough money there to cover, when the interest rates go up again, if you can cover those extra payments, then by all means go right ahead, but just cover it. Be very wary. And if you're investing in cryptocurrency, it feels like that's still a good thing, but just keep watching, because if it takes a big dive, you might have, you've got to use your instinct, like, is now a good time to sell, cash it in, or should I hang on to it for a bit longer? And if you don't trust, some people just don't trust their own instinct, because, they may have in the past really, really, really believed something and it didn't happen. And then they think, well, my instinct doesn't work. So just follow people that are very, very wise in the financial world, that follow patterns, and listen to what they've got to say. Like, be really well informed, because that way, when you're well informed, your instinct kind of helps to guide you. So I don't really. I thought March this year we were really going to see a turning point in the financial setup, but we're into April now. We're still seeing banks closing here in Australia because they want us all to go online, and it will be a digital system where cash will eventually be phased out. But when you think about it, they're just numbers getting typed into a computer, aren't they? Like, you go to work and you physically do a job, or you sell products, or you offer a service, and then numbers just show up in your bank. It's just numbers on a computer. And then you want to pay a bill and you just transfer those numbers. There's nothing tangible to give you back for what you have done. It's just numbers that are written there, and it just kind of loses all the meaning of the value of what it is when it's like that. So that's the way it seems to be heading. Digital. It'll be a digital system. I do somehow think that this little card that we're all going to have is somehow connected to finances, and it does feel that this little card will have some kind of traceability back to what we are doing with our money. It'll all be traced, but it will still be a person's choice as to what they do with it. But it is all traceable now anyway. You use an EFTPOS card and everybody knows where you've been when you've swiped your card. So it's not much different than that anyway. And for some reason, I think these gold coins are some kind of token that we will be using. It kind of has the feeling that they are of benefit to people that need extra help, that don't have as much money as somebody else. So whether they can trade a service that they can provide for a coin or some kind of trade-off, I'm not sure where that fits in, but I did feel it was going to be important in the future. So, I mean, most of the time I get told, I remember when I said the banks were going to close, I was told by so many people that it will never happen. Money will never change. And I've seen banks closing now, so yeah, I think it is changing, and I'm just trusting that what I've been shown. I don't have a feeling of fear that we're all, we can't all go bankrupt and go and live out on the street, can we? Because it just can't happen. So there'd be an uprising of people to stand up against government if that was to happen anyway. So ever so slowly this is changing. I mean, we've taken thousands of years to get into this mess. It's probably not going to take 1,000 to get out of it, but it's certainly going to take longer than 1 year just to clear up this mess. So, and they've got to dig that hole deeper, get to the bottom, realise they can't get out before it changes. So I wouldn't make any rash financial decisions at the moment. My guides have been telling me to just sit, don't spend on anything big, just pay for my necessities, utilities and food, and that's all I've been doing. And I kind of feel like I'll be okay if I just sit and not make any rash decisions. So I also don't feel as though I don't feel like if you've got cash in the bank you'll lose it, but I am quite concerned for people that have money in stocks or shares, because that feels to be where there could be a big a collapse of that system, and then a lot of maybe retired people that have got investment properties or they've got money in shares who are really going to be struggling. They may have thought they were protecting their future, but it just has that feeling of, I'd really research that if I was in that position, and keep my eye on everything. Don't just sit back, just to sit back and let something expect it to keep growing. I wouldn't be so sure that that's the way it was going to be. So just thought that's all I can get. I don't really get a lot of information that I haven't already given you. But yeah, as I've always said that this is going to change, and it still feels like it's heading that way. So yeah, I'll do another video next week because I want to have a talk about channeling and all the different people that are now able to channel that couldn't channel before, and whether they are really channeling or not. So hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'll chat with you soon.